Hi, I'm Ryan, 29. And 4 months ago, while standing in a rented tux next to a broken champagne fountain, I realized my dad had cut me off, financially, emotionally, completely, because he'd already spent everything on my sister's $90,000 wedding. It started the day I got engaged. No big announcement, no flash mob proposal, no drone photography. Just me, Harper, and a clunky ring I'd been paying off in secret since last spring. I proposed at the park where we first met, near the duck pond, by the gross bench with initials carved into it. She said yes, cried, laughed, then made fun of my shaky hands. I felt like I'd won the lottery. We went back to my parents' house for dinner. Casual celebration. That's when my sister, Melanie, decided to break her news too. "We're getting married in November," she squealed. My mom dropped her wine glass. My dad said, "That's fantastic," before even congratulating me. Melanie had been dating Brian for a year. Brian, who once sold knockoff sneakers from his garage. Brian, who spells entrepreneur, with 2 R's. Melanie was the favorite, the princess, the only girl after 2 boys. She got the big room in high school, the new car at 17, the Europe trip after college. I got a rusted-out Civic and life lessons. Still, I thought maybe this time it would be different. I was wrong. 3 weeks later, Harper and I were touring a community center with questionable carpet when Melanie posted drone footage of her wedding venue. It was a castle. A literal castle. Ivy-covered, hilltop, with swans. My dad saw the post and chuckled. Well, we wanted it to be special. We sat there in folding chairs and I just nodded. Harper squeezed my hand like, "Don't say it." But I said it. "How much did this cost?" My mom waved me off. "It's not about cost, it's about memories." Cool. Memories built on a $90,000 foundation. My dad pulled me aside after and said, "We'd love to help with yours too, but money's tight right now." That's when I knew. My wedding would be a budget line he crossed out. I didn't say anything at first. I told Harper we'd figure it out ourselves. I picked up a second shift at the shop. She picked up freelance gigs between teaching. We planned a modest outdoor wedding behind a historic inn. Borrowed tables, string lights, playlists instead of a DJ. We made it ours. But it still stung when I saw Melanie's save the dates, gold foil, monogrammed, custom calligraphy. Ours? A Canva template and stamps we licked by hand. It got worse. When Melanie's bridal shower came around, it was catered. With a harpist. I showed up with a gift card and 2 armfuls of folding chairs I offered to help set up. My mom whispered, "Maybe just leave those by the door, Ryan." Like my help was embarrassing. 2 days later, Dad called me. "You understand, right?" he said. "It's not that we don't want to help. It's just Melanie's wedding, it's once in a lifetime. So is mine," I said. Silence. Then, "You're a guy. It's different." That was the moment. The exact second I stopped trying to be the good son, the patient one, the helper. I didn't say anything to Harper. Not yet. I just made a decision. Quietly. The kind you don't announce until it's too late to argue. And then Melanie's wedding day arrived. The wedding was held at a private estate so large it had its own name, Whispering Pines. I pulled up in my 6-year-old Camry between a Rolls-Royce and what I swear was a rented white horse. Harper held my hand so tight I could feel my bones shift. "Just breathe," she whispered. "Pretend we're at a theme park. And all the rides cost more than our combined student debt." Melanie wore a Verawang gown that probably had its own security detail. Dad stood near the champagne wall with a smile that looked like it had been Botoxed into place. When he saw me, he waved and mouthed, "Hey, champ," like I was the damn water boy. I gave the gift envelope to the coordinator like I was passing off evidence. Harper had tucked a sweet note inside. I wanted to add, "P.S. This envelope cost us a week of groceries." But I kept it classy. The ceremony was fine. Emotional, choreographed, with vows that sounded like they were workshopped by a screenwriter. Melanie cried. Brian made a joke about NFTs. Everyone clapped like it was Hamilton. The reception was worse. I got seated at table 12 and A, the cousin penalty box. The one with the broken chair and the kids' menu. Meanwhile, my brother Jake got a seat at the parents' table because he helped set up the photo booth. Spoiler, he didn't. He just showed up early with a beer and an opinion. The night hit its peak when Dad made his speech. He tapped his champagne flute and cleared his throat like a man about to accept an Oscar. "Today, we give away our daughter. And what a daughter she is, kind, beautiful, accomplished." He kept going. And going. He even mentioned her second-place finish in the 8th grade spelling bee. By the end, he was crying. Melanie was crying. My mom was dabbing her eyes like a Hallmark movie extra. And me? I sat there chewing a dry chicken breast and thinking. You gave her the world. You gave me a shrug. Harper leaned in and whispered, "You okay?" I nodded. But inside, something cracked. After the cake cutting, I slipped away to the back patio. I needed air. Or maybe distance. Dad found me there, holding a half-empty glass of flat champagne. "You don't look happy," he said. "Should I be?" I replied. His brow furrowed. "Come on, Ryan. You know we'd help if we could. But things are tight." "Right. Tight. So tight you could still spring for swans and imported orchids." He sighed, like I was the unreasonable one. "Your sisters always dreamed of this day." "And I haven't?" I snapped. "I'm your son, Dad. Not your afterthought." He went quiet. Then said the line that will probably be carved into the granite memory of our relationship forever. "You're a man. You'll figure it out. That's what men do." I laughed. Not because it was funny. Because it was the kind of stupid that echoes. "That's what you think of me?" I asked. "The guy who figures it out so you don't have to?" Before he could answer, the fountain behind us sputtered. The champagne fountain. The $6,000 rental that came with its own handler. It sprayed one last fizz and died. Symbolic, really. Dad shrugged. "It happens." "Yeah," I said. "It does." And that's when I told him. About the plan. About what I'd done quietly, without their help. His face changed then. Like a glitch in the Matrix. I said, "I'm getting married in 3 weeks. Same day as our courthouse appointment. It's paid for. Small. Intentional. Just us and the people who showed up without a price tag." His mouth opened. Closed. "You weren't invited," I added. "Not because I don't love you. But because I finally love myself more." He stood there speechless. And I walked back inside, kissed Harper, and danced until my feet hurt. 3 weeks to go. Our wedding day wasn't in a castle. There was no harpist. No champagne wall. But the grass was soft, the sun showed up like it was part of the guest list, and Harper looked like the reason the world turns. We got married behind the historic and we found on a Tuesday tour with a half-eaten granola bar and a staff member named Bonnie who said, "Y'all seem like the type that'd rather have pie than cake." I like that. We booked it on the spot. The entire wedding cost less than Melanie's flower budget. I'm not kidding. Our centerpieces were books from our first dates wrapped in twine. Harper wore a dress she found on a clearance rack that she altered herself. I wore a suit I already owned, polished up with a tie my brother Jake gave me as a last-ditch attempt at redemption. There were 34 guests. Every single one of them had offered to help in some way, folding chairs, setting up lights, making playlists, passing out bug spray. It felt like a community, not an audience. And yes, my parents were not on the list. Jake was. Let me tell you something about Jake. He was the golden boy until Melanie took the crown. Football star, prom king, broke his collarbone doing a backflip off Dad's boat. He'd coasted through family favoritism like it came with a punch card. But about a week after Melanie's wedding, he showed up at my door. He brought beer and a silence that lasted until we hit bottle 2. Then he said, "Dad was wrong." I didn't say anything. He thinks love is a transaction. Help equals control. Gifts come with a script. I looked at him, surprised. "You just now noticing that?" Jake shook his head. "Nah. I always knew. I just liked the perks. But seeing you walk away? That did something to me, man." That's how he ended up at our wedding. Holding Harper's grandma's hand while she cried through our vows. Grinning in every photo. Making a toast that ended with, "You two are the blueprint. And I'm stealing every part of it." We had 3 pies instead of a cake. Harper's uncle played acoustic guitar. We danced barefoot under string lights. Harper strung herself while muttering about this Pinterest crap. It was perfect. Until I checked my phone at midnight. 6 missed calls from Mom. 2 voicemails. One text. We saw the photos. I can't believe you didn't want us there. You'll regret this. And then a second. Your sister's crying. She says you ruined everything. Harper saw my face and reached for my hand. You okay? I showed her the screen. She didn't flinch. You didn't ruin anything. You just didn't play the game. But something in me cracked open. Not guilt. Not regret. Just grief. I'd finally built something beautiful. And they couldn't even pretend to be happy. The next morning, I wrote my mom a message. Not angry. Not defensive. Just clear. Mom, I didn't leave you out to punish you. I left you out because I'm done building a life you only value when it mirrors Melanie's. I needed our wedding to be about love, not comparisons, not control, not emotional accounting. If you want to be part of our life, it has to be real. No scripts. No scorecards. We're not playing favorites anymore. Love. Ryan. She didn't respond. But Melanie did. One message. You'll always be jealous. I just didn't think you'd show it like this. I stared at that text longer than I cared to admit. Then I deleted it. Then I blocked her. I turned to Harper curled beside me, pie crumbs still in her hair, and said, Let's go on our honeymoon early. She smiled. Even if we don't have plane tickets? I held up the keys to Jake's borrowed cabin upstate. I don't need first class. I just need peace. We left before the sun came up. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel like I was running from something. I was running toward it. The cabin was small, crooked in places, with a porch that creaked and a wood stove that looked like it might file for retirement. But it smelled like cedar and morning. Jake had left us a note. No Wi-Fi. No noise. No family group chats. You're welcome. There was a box of mismatched mugs in the kitchen and a stack of mystery novels older than both of us. We spent the first 48 hours doing nothing. Like actual nothing. No itinerary. No sightseeing. Just Harper reading on the floor and me trying to remember what quiet felt like. Around day 3, Harper turned to me mid-toast bite and said, Do you think they'll ever get it? I knew what she meant. My parents. Melanie. The whole House of Cards family system that kept tipping over every time someone coughed the truth. I shrugged. I don't think it's about them getting it anymore. I think it's about me not needing them to. She chewed slowly. That's big. It feels big, I said. Like when your foot stops hurting, and you didn't even realize you'd been limping. That afternoon we built a fire and made soup from a can. It was the best thing I'd tasted in years. Harper's head was on my shoulder when I asked her the question that had been bouncing around in my head since the wedding. Would you be okay if I went low contact with my parents? She didn't hesitate. I'd be okay if you went no contact. But only if it was what you needed, not what you thought you owed. That was the moment I realized something. I'd spent 29 years trying to be someone worth choosing, the reliable son, the peacemaker, the one who didn't need much. But now, I needed this. The quiet. The dignity. The space to stop apologizing for not being their golden ticket. Back home, things moved fast. Jake came over with a folder. Legal stuff. He said. I'd been doing some digging. Turns out Dad had quietly opened a joint account in Melanie's name months before her engagement. That's how the wedding got funded. Not a gift. A transfer. Pulled from what was once supposed to be a shared family account. Jake showed me the numbers. I'm not showing you this to start a war, he said. I'm showing you because you deserve the full picture. I laughed bitterly. So he didn't just cut me off. He used my name to do it. Jake nodded. Yep. We sat in silence for a while. Then I asked, What are you going to do? He hesitated. I already did it. I withdrew my half. I closed the account. I told them it was theft if they touched mine again. That night, Harper and I had a long talk. I don't want to sue my own father, I said. You won't have to, she said. You already beat him. You built a life without him. Still, I wrote one last letter. Printed. Signed. Delivered in person. I handed it to my mom on her front step. She opened it with trembling fingers. It read, To both of you. I know about the money. I know how it was used. I'm not here to fight over scraps. I'm here to say this. You've already spent everything I was ever going to ask from you. I'm not angry anymore. I'm just done. Don't reach out unless it's with honesty and accountability. Until then, I'll be building my life, without you in it. Ryan. She didn't speak. Just folded it, hands shaking. She looked older than I remembered. I walked back to the car. Harper was waiting with the engine running. She didn't ask how it went. She didn't need to. That night, I took a long shower and let everything wash off me. The next morning, I changed my number. You know what's weird? Peace is loud when you're not used to it. After years of managing expectations and walking on eggshells shaped like my sister's wedding favors, the silence that followed my letter felt unnatural. Like the whole world hit pause. No texts. No guiltgrams. No. Family means forgiveness. Lectures. Just stillness. And in that stillness, life got real. Harper and I moved into a rental house with creaky floors and a lemon tree in the backyard. The kind of place where the closet doors never quite stay shut and the mailbox tilts like it's drunk, but we loved it. It was ours. She painted the kitchen yellow. I built a bench for the porch out of reclaimed wood and 4 YouTube mistakes. We didn't have much. But every lamp, every chipped mug, every framed photo of us laughing too hard, it all meant something. One night, Harper came home holding 2 job offers. One from a charter school she'd been stalking online for a year. The other, a private school with way better pay but strict rules about curriculum. She looked at me and said, "What would you pick if money wasn't the problem?" I said, "The one where I'm not slowly dying inside." She picked the charter school. Later that week, I got an email from a small architecture firm downtown. I'd done freelance for them ages ago, sketches, mock-ups, nothing fancy. But they were expanding. They wanted to bring me in as lead designer for a community center project. "We've been watching your work," the founder wrote. "We love your eye for simplicity." I didn't even know they remembered my name. I walked into the meeting with my best shirt and my least scuffed shoes. I walked out with a full-time job and a title that didn't end in assistant. I called Harper the second I hit the sidewalk. She screamed into the phone like we'd won the lottery. Then she paused and said, "Do we celebrate with tacos or ice cream?" "Both," I said. "We did." I posted about the new job on social media. Just a single sentence. Building something that matters. No hashtags. No humble brag. My inbox lit up. Not from my parents. Not from Melanie. From cousins. Old college friends. People who'd been quiet for years. One message stood out. From my cousin Sarah. "I saw your wedding photos. They made me cry. You looked like someone who finally stopped apologizing for breathing." And then, "For what it's worth, your mom sent a long message to the family chat last week. She said you were ungrateful. Said you abandoned them." I sat with that for a while. Then I messaged Sarah back. "Tell her this. I didn't abandon anyone. I just stopped financing my own dismissal." That weekend, Harper and I went hiking. No signal. Just trees and wind and the occasional squirrel judging us. At the summit, she turned to me, cheeks pink from the climb, and said, "You're lighter." I laughed. "I'm exhausted." "No," she said. "You're lighter in your bones." Like something heavy finally fell off. She wasn't wrong. Back at the car, I had one new voicemail. From Melanie. Her voice was tight, fake calm. "You really think you're better than us now, huh? Living your little humble life. Getting sympathy from strangers." Meanwhile, Mom's crying every other day, and Dad's saying you poisoned the family. "You happy now?" Delete. I didn't even listen to the rest. Because here's the thing, I was happy. Not always in the big, movie-ending kind of way. But in the tiny, mundane ways that actually matter. Sunday pancakes. Shared glances in grocery aisles. Quiet mornings with no drama, no expectations, no performance. I was building a life that didn't revolve around being someone's second place. I was finally first in my own story. 2 months later, a letter came. Real paper. Fancy envelope. My mom's handwriting on the front, like that somehow made it sacred. I didn't open it right away. I made coffee. Sat on the porch. Let the morning sun stretch across our uneven lawn. Harper came out, kissed my forehead, didn't ask. She never asks until I'm ready. When I opened it, it was shorter than I expected. No apology. No ownership. Just, "We miss you. The family isn't whole without you." Melanie's expecting. A baby could heal this. Please come home. I stared at those words for a long time. Not, we were wrong. Not, we're sorry. Just another ask, another emotional bill disguised as a reunion. I folded it slowly, tucked it in the drawer labeled boundaries, and poured myself more coffee. That night, Harper and I sat on the floor eating pasta from mismatched bowls. No TV. Just soft music and the sound of forks scraping ceramic. I said, "She thinks a baby will fix what they broke." Harper nodded. "Babies aren't glue. They're mirrors." "Exactly." I didn't write back. Instead, I printed out a photo of our wedding. Just me and Harper laughing mid-dance, slightly blurry, no edits. On the back I wrote, "We're good. Hope you get there someday too." Then I mailed it. No return address. No invitation. Just the truth. A week later Jake called. "You okay?" he asked. "Better than ever," I said. And I meant it. Because peace, I've learned, isn't flashy. It doesn't post updates. It doesn't beg for attention. It just sits beside you at dinner, hands you the pepper, and says, "You're not broken. You just finally stopped letting other people define the shape of you." So no, I'm not going back. Not to perform. Not to beg. Not to prove I deserve the same love handed to someone else on a platinum platter. I've got everything I need now. A partner who sees me. A job that fulfills me. And a home full of light, laughter, and the kind of love that doesn't ask you to shrink. And when that baby comes, I'll send a gift. Wrapped with care. No note. Let them wonder. Let them feel the silence. Because this time, I'm not the one filling it.